How many of you guys grew up singing this little song? I have it up there for you. I got to put the little song up there for you. I grew up singing this song right here. Be careful, little mouth, tongue, what you say. Remember that? Be careful, little tongue, what you say. Be careful, little tongue, what you say. For the Father up above is looking down in love. So be careful, little tongue, what you say. No? You guys didn't grow up singing that? No, come on. We had in Portuguese. Cuidado, não lembro mais. Esqueci. Ai, ai, ai. I just sang in the first service and I forgot. Cuidado. Não lembro. I forgot. See, I'm speaking Portuguese with you, making you bilingual. How's that? But I did grow up singing this song in Sunday school. Because the passage that we're talking about today, it is about our tongue. I grew up singing that song, but I grew up doing something else too, which is eating soap. How many of you guys ate soap growing up? Right? We all ate some soap growing up. You tell me the flavor you wanted, I have it. The vanilla one, I got you. I understand I know how that tastes. The lavender one, I remember when the lavender one came in the 80s in Brazil. Boy, it was purple. I thought it was going to taste better. It did not. Do you know that one that the neighbor does down the street? I don't know if you know this, but back in Brazil, they would get fat from animals and create soap. Do they still do that? Did they ever do that in America? I don't know if they did that. And then my mom would get that ball soap that Mary down the street did it. And she would cut a piece, and then she would make me eat it. And it was never my fault. I always told my mom, it's not my fault that, that. She's like, oh, it's not your fault. I was like, it's my tongue fault. She never bought into it. I was always getting in trouble with my mouth. And here's the funny thing. Do you want to know what the ironic thing about Pastor Sam's life is the fact that the place that I sin the most is my tongue. The darn thing gets me in trouble all the time. But it is the same place in which God has called me to serve Him and His people. How ironic is that? And for the last 18 to 20 years, I've been wrestling with why God called me, the one who uses his mouth at the worst way possible, called me to preach God's word. So a passage like the ones that we're going to treat today, I'm sitting here because I don't want to be animated. This is not entertaining. This is a tough conversation we're going to have together about the tongue. And for me, it's a serious, it's a holy ground when I'm talking about tongue, because it is, it has to do with my life personally. I can't detach myself from it. After talking about the vital connection between faith and works in chapter 2, which we have been exploring for the last couple of weeks. Yesterday I was even a little mean with you, but I said that faith acts. Faith must act. And immediately addressing the fact that our actions gotta follow what we believe and what we say we believe. James goes on helping us understanding our role on communicating and how we use words. As we have learned, James is writing to a group of people under pressure, under the persecution, who left their home and knows what I know and what you know really well. And this is one of the things that we all know well. These people knew, James knew, you and I know, is the fact that hard times tend to bring the worst out of us. Especially in creating a negligent tongue, or a tongue that works, by the way. So he's talking about that. He knows that every time life is hard, the first thing to go south is your mouth. And he's addressing that. If you're going to profess faith in Jesus, you have to be intentional, and you gotta be able to say, be careful, little mouth, what you say. Be careful, little tongue, what you say. Your Father up above is looking down in love. Be careful, little mouth, what you say. James chapter 3, verses 1 and on. I'm going to read from verses on and on. We won't be able to get the whole, I'm not going to be able to explore the whole chapter, the whole verses. I'm going to give you some bullet points, and then we're going to focus on verses 6 and on. Chapter 3, verses 1 to 12. Not many of you should become teachers. Do you understand why this passage is a scary passage for pastors, person like me? Because the one who is going to keep me accountable is not you, unfortunately. Eventually, I'll have to sit down in front of Jesus, and he might turn me over and give me a spanking. It's a joke. But look what does it say. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers and sisters, for you know that he who teaches will be judged more with greater strictness. For we all stumble in many ways, and if one does not stumble in what he says, he or she is a perfect man or woman, able to bridle his whole mouth. If we put bits in the mouth of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole bodies as well. Look at the ships also. Though they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are guided by a very small rudder whenever the will of the pilot directs. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts a great thing. How great a forest is set ablaze by a small spark, small fire. And the tongue is like a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life. Wow. Setting on fire the entire course of life. I don't know about you, but that is a scary thing to me. And setting on fire by what? By what? By hell. A lot of Christians don't like that word. I don't like it either, but it's right here in the Bible. For every kind of beasts and bird and reptile and sea creature can be tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With it we bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse people who are made in the likeness of God. From the same mouth come blessing and curse, my brothers. These things ought not to be so. Does a spring pour forth from the same opening both fresh and salt water? Can a fig tree, my brothers and sisters, bear olives, or grapevine produce figs? No. Neither can a salt pond yield fresh water. It's not there for you. It's not there. Be careful what you say. I don't have time to explore the whole passage with you, but we'll focus on verse 6 to 12. But let me give you some things for you to ponder from verses 1 to 3. Verses 1 to 3 says this: more words, more accountability. Good words equals safe life. And then verse 5 says this: a small member, big problem. James, on the first few verses, says, listen, the more words you say, the more accountable you're going to be. Shut up. Good words, safe life. Bad words, dangerous life living. Small member of the body, man, big problem. And we all know that our tongue has got us in trouble many times and continue to will if we don't have something that we lack. James chapter 3 seems to address the heart of the tongue problem in humanity. And the heart of the problem when it comes to you and I and the little member of our mouth, it is this: the lack of self-control. Especially when it comes to the mouth. And James dived deep into the issue here. So in the first part, he's making us say this statement: oh man, do we have a problem with our mouth? We all know that. And in the second part of the verses that we're going to explore, he's kind of telling us, be afraid of the tongue. It is a dangerous thing. And here's the reason why I like the word scary. I have used it with you many times here thus far, and will continue to, or dangerous. It is scary because in Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 and 27, we read this. God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion. This is a very important word. Dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over the livestock and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps on earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created male and female. He created them. And one of the things that we learn from this verse, there's a lot that must learn here, but one of the things that we learn is that God make us capable. God gave us a lot of capabilities. He gave us a lot of intelligence and to express ourselves in many ways. And then when I look at humanity and all the things we have created and accomplished as human beings, man, I'm always in awe. Look at all the things that we have built. Technology, medicine. We went to the moon. I mean, all of these and many more is an expression of the ways we rule the world. God gave us wisdom. God gave us intelligence. God gave us a discernment to create things that will make the world a better place. I can tell you this, I love cars. I can't imagine a life without cars. Driving, being able to move fast, go wherever you want. We have this expression of creation in many other ways, and also includes our ability, though. God has given us the ability to tame, to train creatures. God has given us that ability to do that. I mean, you have been to the zoo before. We have tamed lions. We have tamed alligators. When I used to live in Florida, I went to SeaWorld. I have seen whales. Have you seen a whale jump because a guy told her to jump? Elephants and birds and dogs and horses. I was watching Jurassic Park the other day, and guys were telling dinosaurs what to do. But interestingly enough, James says that there is one thing a man cannot tame. You know what that is? His wife. I'm joking. You guys are, this is just a joke. It's the tongue. He says that, and it's very clear. The tongue. James would like for us to be very conscious and mindful of what is at stake here when we use our tongue. James is very kind in showing us a way in which our words are dangerous. He could have simply said, listen, be careful what you say. Handle your words with caution. Be careful. But that's not what he goes on and address it. He goes on and goes deep in the issue. James wants us to hear something that we will feel so that we will act upon. And nothing like making us understand this very important thing, that what comes out of our mouth is the barometer of our life. Your words are important, and they're dangerous because they dictate to where your life is going and how it will end it up. So in verses 23 and 24, he says, not verse 23 to 24, on verses 6, 7, and 8, he says, so also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great of a force is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, is staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by hell. You know what if I have to summarize what he's saying here, he's saying this: our words create our world. The world in which we live is mostly created by the words that we speak. James repeatedly uses the illustration verses 5 and 6. The example that he uses is of a forest on fire. They start on fire for a small little spark. Something in small creates something so big. He goes far by saying that the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. And in verse 5, James wants us to see the connection between something little that creates a big problem. And then on verse 6, he opens up, he pulls back the lenses, and he shows the aftermath of a fire that is caused by the mouth. I mean, we all have experienced images like this on TV. Or maybe some of you have moved from California, from the west to central Ohio, and you have seen when forests catch on fire, how dangerous there is, right? There are people fleeing their homes. Communities have to be evacuated. There's not enough airplane drop stuff from the heavens. There's not enough water to put the fire down. We all know how dangerous this has been. Most of us have seen on TV, or some of you have been there. As far as the eyes can see, you only see fire. James is kind of bringing that to our attention. Listen, your mouth, your tongue has the ability to put, this little thing has the ability to make a big, big fire. And the aftermath of it is destruction. James calls this tongue fire a world of unrighteousness. And this word is very significant in the New Testament. I would imagine that if I ask you, what do you think this word means? And some people would say sinful, wicked, ungodly, wrong. That's fine, you're good, that's all great. But it means a lot more than that. The Greek word translated here, unrighteousness, it is the word adikaia, injustice, what is not comfortable with justice, what ought not to be, that which is wrong. That's what it is. And here's a very important contrast that I want you to get here. It's a very important contrast that I want you to get here. There's only adikaia in the Bible because there is this word aletheia. Aletheia is the truth. Adikaia is the opposed to the truth. So there is adikaia only because there is aletheia, the truth, which occupies the place of justice. And God is justice. Who said that He is the truth? Jesus said. Do you remember what He said? I am the way, and the. There's only truth because there is only unrighteousness because there is truth. And Jesus is the truth. Whatever does not, so adake is whatever does not meet God's justice. It's missing God's goal. And this is important for you to get to. Do I have that in here? It's important for you to get it too. The fact that this is here, I got it from 1 John chapter 5, verse 17. You got to go there. Because in there, it is written that all unrighteousness is sin. All unrighteousness is sin. And the word sin is the word armatia, which has to do with the word adikaia. There is adikaia only because there is aletheia, which occupies the place of justice, and God is just. Whatever does not meet God's justice, missing God's goal for us. What is wrong in man's relationship with each other is also what is wrong in man's relationship with God. And the result of adikaia, it is unrighteousness, it is evil doing, it is hurting people, it is doing to people what God never intended to be done towards them. whether personally or in society at large, justice is connected to God's standard. Listen, let me tell you, this is a very important statement. Whatever is going on in the world, if it is just, if it is right, it is connected to God's standard for what is true and right. We need to be asking them the question, what does God think about what's going on right here and right now? Because all that is good, all that is right, all that is true is connected to God. And that's why I usually pray for the judges, for the police officers, for those who are first-time responders, because they're bringing justice to the world. And every time justice is being brought to the world, God is in it. Words create our worlds. But notice the kind of world that it creates. A world of unrighteousness, a world of injustice. The tongue is the gateway for a whole realm of wickedness to happen. I don't know if you noticed this, but every time, I don't know if your Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels or short Reels have some of those. Mine shows up all the time. I don't know, maybe because I like to watch them, the whole algorithm. But you have people fighting. Have you ever seen those little videos of people fighting on Instagram or on my Instagram Reels or YouTube Reels, Shorts or whatever? There's a lot of fights going on there. I don't know why. It's Laura. She watches this kind of stuff and then shows up. Our account is connected. It's my wife's fault. So right, but I don't know, one of the things that we need to notice is that, do you know that most of those fights that happens in there, it starts with a word? Most fights we watch, it starts with words. Most conflicts on the world stage are started with sinful words that led to an escalation of action. In a more serious way, maybe you grew up in a home filled with words of unrighteousness, filled with words that is negative. Maybe you are in a relationship where the words that are professed are death-giving, not life-giving. It's discouraging. Think of a home marked by abusive words. It is not just the words. The entire culture of the home becomes death. Think about a home where the husband, a relationship with the husband, only have bad words to say to the wife, or the wife, the bad words to say to their husband. Imagine a home where their parents can only tear the kids down instead of lifting the kids up with their words, with words of encouragement. Maybe you grew up on a home like that. Maybe right now you are in a relationship that the only words that you can tell each other are words of destruction. And you know what world you are creating for yourself and for your home and for your kids. I don't know, turn the TV or go to TikTok and you get a little daily diet of breaking news stories, and all you hear is destruction everywhere. Words of destruction is professed often in our culture. Our culture is struggling under the destructive power of words that create a world of unrighteousness. It all starts with our mouth. It is important for you to re-put this statement in your mind, because it is true. You know what else James shows us in this verse, and this is what he's showing us in this verse. Our words can be life-shaping, molding, defining, and determining. Words are powerful. I have met with many women who has not self-worth because a dad spoke bad words towards her when she was a little one. Maybe it was a brother. I have met with many guys with no confidence whatsoever because dad always criticized what he said and what he did. Words has a powerful way of shaping lives, molding, defining, and determining our future. Listen, your words and your tones matter. Imagine someone say, hey, I have a perfect life. My life is great. It's a rock solid, except by my words, how I talk. You look at that person like, you're crazy. those words would be telling, because how we talked and what we talked about defines us. A small tongue defines the entire person. James says the tongue is set among our members. The word set there, I have it here for you, is this is little word in English, but it's a big word in Greek. It's kathitami. And it means to stand out, to cause to be, like in showing up and making sure that everybody knows you are there. We all know someone who, as soon as he gets to the party, everybody knows he's there. I was putting this together, and I was reminded one time I went to this event, and I got there and everybody saw me, and I was like, dang, man, everybody knows who I am. That's crazy, Doesn't make you feel good. Doesn't make you feel good when you go to a place people know who you are, man. And I'm going in there, and the guy, a friend of mine, like, Sam. I was like, what's up, dude? Boom, I'm here. He's like, I'm just like the tongue. I'm here, showed up. And he's like, dude, there's a toilet paper hanging behind your back. I was like, dude, who put that there? And I pick it up, like, he's like, everybody knows you went to the bathroom now. I was like, I did not go to the bathroom. Are you kidding me? Who put it in there? Who put it there? That's exactly how the tongue works. You think you're the best thing that has ever happened, just to find out there's a toilet paper hanging behind. The tongue is just one part of our body, but that doesn't mean it should be treated lightly. It is not even, there is an uneven power given to the tongue. I don't know why in God's sovereignty He chose to give so much power between positivity and negativity that comes out of the mouth. In this context, James is saying that the little tongue, this little thing, is staining the whole body. The word stain means that the tongue contaminates, pollutes, infests the entire body, the entire person with evil, with what is not good, with what is unrighteous. The sins committed with the tongue spread spiritually, polluting the whole person. There's a lot of debate that goes on theologically on what James was meaning when we say set the whole life on fire. And so the word there, the setting on fire, the entire course of life, there's debate there. The word run there, I have it there for you in the Greek. What the word is trochos, means to run. That's how usually translated. A runner, something made round for rolling or running, hence generally a wheel as a potter's wheel for molding. And so I'm going to take that last part for you, because I think this is what James is trying to say here. I think he's trying to give you a hint of like, listen, this is like the tongue is like it's like a potter wheel. We all have seen a potter wheel. Somebody's doing a potter. They have clay, and the guys or the ladies doing the foot thing, and the wind is spinning, and you're molding the clay to be in the pot that you want, and so on and so forth. So for me, what he's saying is that it is this right here. It is the course of our lives. Is like this the will of origin of our will of our life. And that's what I think he's trying to get into it here. And this is what it is right here. A potter's will for molding the idea of a will being set on fire. So he's like, he has you have your life, and there is like this will that is going. It means the will of origin of your life, or what's going on in your life. There's a lot of discussion here on that. So I think that's it. What I think he's trying to say is that there's a potter's wheel for molding, the idea of a wheel being set on fire. So what he's saying is this. He said there's someone making your pot. You are a pot, you are clay, and someone is molding you, but that molding is made on fire. And there's fire that comes around and around and around and around and around and around. The wheel turns, and their fire just keeps turning and turning and coming around, coming around and coming around. James here, I believe, is referring to the terms as a cycle, a pattern, a habit of a person's life. So he's like, listen, you're molded that way, and your life just continues to spin on fire that way. This wheel is on fire, and the wheel keeps going around and around and around and keeps coming back and over and over and over again. You're always on fire. And what he's saying is that you are the clay in a potter's wheel, and the potter that is molding you It is not God. It is someone else, not from heaven, but from someone else, somewhere else. So he's saying like the habits of your life, it becomes a habit, becomes a pattern, it's a mood, it becomes what defines you. There is something defining you, something else defining your life. And we all have met people that everywhere they go, there's conflict. Every time they speak, you know problems arises. It's a conflict at work, there's conflict at home, there's conflict at the church, there's conflict in their neighborhood, there's conflict everywhere they go. In their minds, all these conflicts is not their problems, it's somebody else's fault. But what has happened is this has now become a pattern, become a habit. It is now defining the course of their life. Wherever they go, they scorch everyone else. Their lives and everybody else's life, it is just like this picture right here. It is just death, desolation everywhere they go. And sets on fire the course of our life, and is set on fire by what? By hell. Just in case you're wondering, the word hell is in the Bible. I know Christians don't like this word, neither do I, right? But it's true. It is biblical. It is there. The word hell, it is the Greek word Gehenna, the place or state of lost and condemned, of the lost and condemned. Now think about how many New Testament texts do you know with this kind of language? We don't have many of this language around, right? So for James, he wants us to ask this question: what exactly is lighting up my mouth on fire? He's like, listen, so this almost make us look and think about some of the words that we have professed in the last couple of few hours, right? What is the tone and what have we said? What is the kind of, what is in our mouth? Is it fire coming out, or what is it? James is like, listen, be careful. You not gotta make sure to answer this question. What is lighting up in your fire in your mouth? And the answer is very clear. It is hell itself. As if like the enemy stick his match into the fires of hell, lights up your mouth on fire, backs up and watch you do the work. Destroying your marriage, destroying your friends, destroying your kids, destroying your spouse, destroying your parents. Just fire everywhere you go. Ultimately destroying your life and the life of those around you. Using words in a demonic way. Completely out of control. The severity of the language James uses here again tells us this is a very big deal. We can't take our tongue for granted. We can't see this spiritual contamination inside of us, and we can see this contamination not only inside of us but all around us. You know what else that James is trying to tell us this, and here's where I'm going to end, is that our words can be devastating. Can have devastating effects. Look what he says here. For every kind of beasts and birds and reptile in the sea created creature can be tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. Is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. Doesn't have this idea of a snake with a little tongue coming out, poison, ready to bite and to kill, doesn't it? James clearly wants us to feel the weight of this issue, and what is the issue? Is that our words can be very difficult to control. It can be very difficult to control. Oh, Pastor said, so James kind of put in here that we can tame the tongue. So what is the hope for us? And I think that's where it is. That here's the secret of it all. I think a lot of people have tried to control their mouth, what they say, by reading books, by doing this, or by going to this or to that. I don't know how you try to control your mouth, but you can't. It is not in human capability of doing. We can tame whales, we can tame sharks, we can tame lions, we can train them for our benefit, but we cannot do that with the tongue. So when it comes to the tongue, we need to do what Augustine said it to us. When the tongue is tamed, we confess that this is brought about by the pity, the help, and the grace of God. This is not something you can do. This is not something you can control. The only time we can control our tongue is under the power of the Holy Spirit in us, under the transformation that God brings to us. This is where we desperately need God's help. Controlling the tongue only happens by a transformed heart through the work of the Holy Spirit. Which is a gift of God, the gift of grace towards you and I. I think humanity needs to stop thinking too highly of ourselves, and we need to humble down before the Lord of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords and say, God, my mouth is destroying every relationship I have. My job, my life, it is destroying the whole thing. I need to put it under your control. Jesus, I give you my tongue. Carrie Underwood was wrong when she said, Jesus, take the wheel. He needs to say, Jesus, take my tongue. Listen, consider how connected the fruit of the Spirit is with the tongue. And the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things, there is no law. Listen, we need to cry out to God to help us to know what to say and what not to say, because our words can be deadly. Most people lack self-control in life because of the words of other people. Self-confidence in life because the words of other people. Lies that other people have told them. Words are powerful. Words can strike hard. Words can create deep wounds. Word can create pain and trauma. Words can separate couples, can separate friends. Words destroy trust. Words create doubt. Words encourage revenge. Words infected with poison that kills. How cool would it be if the Holy Spirit took control of our tongue and we only spoke words of love, of joy, of peace, of patience, of kindness, of goodness, of faithfulness, of gentleness, if we could have self-control? Words can kill. So be careful, little tongue, what you say. Be careful, little tongue, what you say. For your Father up above is looking down in love. Be careful, little tongue, what you say. As we transition to communion time, I think it is important for us to meditate over something that is very important when it comes to the tongue. Jesus, you can go ahead and grab your cup. Jesus on Matthew 15, verses 16 and 20. I'm going to read from the Message, which is not something I do often, but I think for the sake of today and meditating over the words that comes out of our mouth, how we use our tongues, Jesus kind of points something out that James, I believe, is speaking it on. From Matthew 15, chapter 16 and 20. Jesus said this, and I'm reading from the Message, so it's a little paraphrase, right? You too, are you being woefully stupid? Don't you know that anything that is swallowed works its way through the intestines and is finally defecated? But what comes out of the mouth, it started in the heart. It is from the heart that we vomit up evil arguments, murders, adulteries, fornication, theft, lies, and cussing. That's what pollutes. Eating or not eating certain foods, washing or not washing your hands, that's neither here or nor there. You know what it matters the most is what comes out of your mouth is started in your heart. So if your words is demonic words today towards your spouse, your kids, your friends, your pastor, your God, your neighborhood, boy, don't you hate James. And on that, Jesus too. Because they're both telling you, you have a problem in the heart. And a heart problem only your Creator can fix through the Holy Spirit. How's your mouth? How's your tongue? Who cares about that? That doesn't matter. How is your heart? Maybe today for communion time, you and I should put our hearts before God and ask Him to change our hearts so the words we speak are words of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Because that's where life is. That's where life is.